Hello everyone, it is Evan from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, September 16th, here with a market recap video. We are first going to analyze the current market environment. We're then going to look at some other markets, some leading sectors, individual names, and then finally some trade ideas heading into the remainder of the week. Now, before we get into today's video, I want to remind everyone that I am doing a free trading webinar coming up next Wednesday, September 23rd. That's a week from today at 7:30 Eastern Time. If you head to thetraderisk.com/webinar, you can hit this page, drop your email in here. It's free. Even if you can't make this time, I will send you a recording of the event, so do attend if this interests you, or just head to thetraderisk.com and click this link right here on the top right hand corner. It'll get you to this page, but basically it's going to be about an hour long. I'm going to share some insights as to how I trade, what my daily routine is, how I analyze price action, how I position size, how I navigate volatile markets as a swing trader. Should be a lot of fun, so bring some questions, drop your email here if this interests you, and I hope to see a lot of you guys there next Wednesday. Now, jumping into today's video, we had a nice session for the bulls today. We closed up almost 1% on the day, and importantly, we took out the past 3 weeks highs today, and we closed pretty strongly above them. We had a nice little rally push into the last 30 minutes close of the day. Now, if we look at a weekly chart here, this is what we're looking at. It's this level right around 199, which has been the highs for the past 3 weeks, and this was also, of course, a very important level for us for the market back in early 2015. So the market's showing signs that it wants to try and get above there. It's lifting above there now, but of course we do have a catalyst coming up, and that's tomorrow. That is the Fed decision on the rate hike tomorrow, due out at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So that, of course, should be has potential to be a volatile event. It also could be a complete non-event, and nothing could happen too. The market could shrug it off, move a little bit on the initial news, and then it's business as usual. We don't know how the market's going to react to it. All we can do is sort of look at the levels that are important, that the market has demonstrated to be important, and base our trades off of them. So for now, the market is rallying into this report, and it is trying to be constructive. If we go back down to a daily chart, you can see here there is some space in here to rally. The next level of interest, the next major level of interest, is up here right around 205 in the SPY, and that is the breakdown level. That's the lower end of the range that we traded in for 5 or 6 months, basically since March of this year. So that's the next big target that we need to reclaim. If you look here, the fast moving averages are starting to curl up. They are below price now, so we do have some potential intrinsic support that kind of shows you that the market has worked off at least enough sideways action to recoup some of the momentum here and trying to get going here on the upside. So again, I think it's still a tricky spot. Of course, if you look at this big impulse leg to the downside, this breakdown right here that started from 210 all the way down to 182, we are basically at like a 55 or 60% retrace. If you go back to a weekly chart, bears would probably still argue that this is just a bear flag, and maybe this event will be a catalyst to start breaking us down. Again, not predicting that that's going to happen. I'm just showing a scenario that could unfold. The other slightly bearish look to this chart still is all of this overhead supply in here. If you were a buyer in here over the past 6 months of the index, you're underwater presumably, and you are an interested seller as price starts to get back above there. That is sort of the definition of overhead supply and how markets work. So again, I am pretty light on this market still. We do have some long positions on, some things that are working. There was a lot of participation today. There are some outperforming names. There are names that look a lot better than this chart here, that are worth at least your attention, potentially some capital on it. So I'm lightly long here, still not convinced enough or want to be fully exposed here, especially into an event like we have tomorrow. Much more interested to me to see how we close out the week. Can we close Friday where we are right now, above last week's highs? That to me would be very constructive, but I do want to see how this next day or two plays out in the markets. Now, if we look at some other indices here, the small cap Similar situation, we're rallying above here. We are making our way through this sort of quiet area with overhead interest level of 120. We're back above this 115 level, which was, again, the level that we played around with quite a bit here earlier this year. So the IWM, of course, now this one had the kind of prolonged downtrend that it's been in since late June, early July. It's been making lower highs and lower lows, still in that formation, but we are seeing this bounce last a little bit longer here. So certainly be of interest. This market, though, definitely still the underperformer, needs to get back above 120 or so to start getting a lot more constructive. The Qs had a nice session as well, up 0.5% today, and this one is climbing back into this chop zone that it was in for quite some time. 110, 111 area is more so where the interest to the upside is if we continue higher. So that's sort of our look there on the indices. Let's look at some other markets. TLT continues to sort of break down here. We got this zone right in here, this 121 zone that price played around with a lot, but it did break back down. Weekly chart, you can see starting to slide back over. These lows here right around 115 are coming back into play. Of course, this market, though, again, the bond market will certainly be well, has potential to be a very volatile market tomorrow and at the release of the announcement by the Fed. So keep an eye on this market. For now, things are definitely pointing down. To get more bullish, you'd really need to take out this area here right around 122. Would start getting this a lot more constructive on the upside. If we look at USO, USO is still a name that I've been long. I've been hanging out in this trade. We've been hanging out in this trade for quite some time now, a couple of weeks. We had a nice push today, up 5.5%. Monday definitely worried me. This candle right here breaking below last week's lows and this cluster of lows from the past few days, but it did hold right where it needed to yesterday and made a little bit of a push up. Not too much, but kind of gave you a little hope. And then today, of course, we broke this downtrend line that we've been in definitively on a strong close. 5.5% day. Looks constructive. We want to see this get back up to the highs here from a few weeks ago, right around $16. Again, we are still on a damaged chart. We know that, but you know, ever since this kind of change of character bar, we've been a little more optimistic in USO in the short term. So I'm continuing to be long this and looking for further upside. If we look at UNG, natural gas, this one's breaking back down again. This one's still very heavy. It wants to really hang into this support line here, and the more it does, the more likely it is to break. I would still be an interested seller of this market below these lows right around 1250, 1245. Get back below there, I would take a shot on the short side. I did try to a couple of weeks ago, got quickly stopped out for a real small loss, and that's fine with me. I'll definitely revisit if I get the chance to. Now, if we look at some leading sectors, semis, been talking about those for a while. These continue to sort of grind higher. Again, you know, you look at this action, it's not, you know, you got to be a little careful. There hasn't been a ton of backfilling and you know, wide range kind of moving back and forth. It's just been sort of sloping higher here in this eerie kind of bear flag formation. Again, I'm not making any predictions, and I'm, for one, am leaning more on the bull side. But again, you just look at this price action and you want to see this continue to firm. You want to see sideways action develop and holding up, you know, in itself. So again, semis, a little bit of a tangent there, but semis are still where a lot of money seems to be rotating recently. They were beaten up. They do still seem to be catching a bid here. And a lot of names, a lot of sectors were up today. Energy, of course, was up today nicely, mostly because of the help of crude. Utilities got a bid. There was a pretty widespread participation today for even the financials up today, trying to poke above, not quite, but trying to get above the past 2-week highs from about 2370 or so. Now let's look at some individual names here. Apple had a pretty quiet day, but it's still holding up well. It's above this area, this 114 area, which I think is important. It's trying to turn things around. The fast moving average is now back below price. You get some big overhead supply starting up here right around 122 from the range that we broke down with. But again, Apple trying to turn the tides here. Don't see anything too actionable, but it definitely looks like price action in the short term favors the bulls. Google, this one's running into some resistance right here, 670 or so, has been a challenging level for it. Doesn't look that actionable to me just yet either, but still holding up, trying to do its thing. Just needs a little more time in my opinion. Netflix had a nice session today, put in a nice follow-through day to yesterday's kind of bullish reversal candle here off of support right around this $93 level. This one looks good. It's contending with these fast moving averages, so probably needs some time, but it needs to try and work itself up to the top end of this range. It's back. It's got a 100 handle on it. So let's see what Netflix does from there. Amazon, this one is right into a level of interest as well. It's 530 area has been trouble, and then 540. It's this zone, 530 to 540, and Amazon really like this to get back above there. I think it would regain a lot of momentum. Been in a strong uptrend now for some time, so Amazon definitely trying to shape up here. Facebook, along the same lines, it's through this $90 level. It's coming back into $95. Again, doesn't look so actionable just for the way we kind of grinded our way up here. A lot of these names are in that similar kind of formation here, where it's just like that slow kind of breakout, that slow grind higher, which is either just got to jump on board or you're going to just slowly miss the move day by day. So don't see anything too actionable, but it is again favoring the bulls there. Twitter had a nice day today. This one's a little more actionable. You get kind of a clear level to work against. Really it's all of this zone in here that's interesting, but certainly in the near term you have this little cluster of highs here right around 28.50 or so in Twitter. I think would be an important one to get above, and then prior to that you got 29.50 or so would be the next area to keep a watch on. So Twitter trying to hold up here, had a nice impulse leg to the upside. It's holding strong relative to this leg higher, so want to see Twitter continue there. Might get a bit of a squeeze here if we can start to get above $29. Alibaba had a nice day today as well. Again, this is a nice 2-day move following up yesterday's sort of reversal bar here to the upside. So again, fast moving averages are still contending with price. The 20 period EMA is still right where we closed today, but again, it's starting to look like it's the early signs of maybe a short-term bottom or a short-term base to be put in here. Let's see how this one continues going forward. GoPro, also a nice day today. This one's been really beaten up, basically a 50% haircut in just a month or so of trading. So 6% bounce to the upside today is nice. We took out the recent 3 or 4 day highs, so that is constructive, but again, this chart is so very damaged. Certainly has some room to float, maybe into this $37, $38 level. These were the lows here back from March, and then they played a role earlier from the immediate IPO range. So I think there is some room, maybe get another day or two of some squeeze higher in GoPro, and then it's really going to have to, then it's going to be interesting to see how that one sets up after that type of move. Tesla looks really good here. Look at a weekly chart. You can see, you got this overhead supply up here right around this 280 level, 275 to 280. I think that's going to be a tough level for it, but for now it looks to be in motion to retest those highs, and those are all-time highs. So Tesla looking pretty good there into tomorrow. Now let's look at a couple of names I have on watch for the rest of the week. SINA, this is one that moved pretty nicely today, up almost 7%, taking out this resistance level, closing strong. It's been in a downtrend for quite some time. You could see, maybe even make the case, some inverted head and shoulders here, whatever you want to call it. Looks good today. Look for some more follow through in this one if we see some positive reaction tomorrow. CHK, energy name, this one of course has been beaten up quite a bit, as a lot of these names have been. A lot of these names are on my scan today, but I just decided to take a few of these that looked interesting. CHK, you can see it's taking out this area here, 13%. Of course, it's a big move, but you know, it's been beaten up quite a bit. So definitely has room to run here. So look for some continuation on the upside there. Hershey Company, HSY, this one had a nice move as well today, up 3.3%. Trying to, it did close above this band of resistance that it's been in for multiple months now. Nice little bottoming base that it put in here after trading down in a downtrend since basically all of 2015. So this one looks good. It's a big move for this type of name, but let's see if this one can continue higher. And then finally, DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods. This one challenging this resistance level right now. Again, this one's been in a downtrend since April of this year. It's put in a little bit of a sideways base here recently, and it looks like it's trying to lift on out. If you look at a weekly chart, you can see a lot of tails around here, just haven't gotten a strong close above 51 in quite some time. So maybe you finally get some resolution to the upside in Dick's Sporting Goods. And that is all I have. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Good luck tomorrow into the Fed. And again, traders.com/webinar. Check out this event that I'm hosting next Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern. Take care. Have a good night.